Hey, hello, YouTube people and Google Plus followers. I invite you over to my kitchen. That's where we're sitting right now. And I'm here with Alicia Merritt, and we're going to be going through the PMP submissions for December together. Everybody say hi.
Hello.
Okay. The astute observers out there may notice that there is no Woopywomp with us tonight. So you could say that we are Woopywompless, if that's a verb. He has been called away to go slaving in the tar pits of Iowa or something similar to that. So we're going to run this show without him, but expect the usual hilarity from Alicia as we comment on the painting trials of all you good folk out there in the world. Okay. Maybe before we do that, though, I'd like to touch on a couple other quick things, and that is that let's celebrate the fact that yesterday successfully the YouTubers Awards went off on the channel of Materium, and I'm happy to be sharing space on tonight's episode with one of those winners. So I'm going to encourage you, actually, Alicia, to toot your own horn here and tell the folks what happened with you last night.
Well, I won the best painted model little trophy, the bottle of liquid talent. I can't wait to get it from Vince. Apparently, everybody really super liked those cold one nights I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will be doing the acceptance speech thing on my channel later. I just haven't gotten around to doing it. I'm hoping to get the trophy first, and then I'll do an acceptance speech. But let's not dwell on that too much.
Well, I want to ask, once you get the trophy, are you going to make a special shelf for it to put it on there?
I might, or I might mod a little model to hold it for me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Or you
there you
could go
go.
the other way and you could just like sleep with it under your pillow. That'd be special.
I don't want to get brown ink on my bed.
Well, is it actually a live bottle?
No, it's empty. I'm messing.
Okay. Well, I think that what we can do is I'm just going to get my stuff loaded up here. And I was looking at the PMP submissions from the month of December. Maybe as I'm doing that, first off, I want to say I kind of expected a bit of a lull in submissions for the month of December. And maybe it's just my own sort of attitude about December that made me think that. You know, a lot of people are doing family stuff and drawing away, and they're traveling at times, etc., etc. So what I'm getting at here is that I'm pretty pleased to see that there seemed to be just as much going on hobby-wise as there was in the previous month.
I know my hobby kind of took a downward dip because of all the traveling and Christmas preparations and kids. So I was actually kind of surprised at how many people were doing stuff too.
Yeah, it was really good.
Hmm.
So pretty pleased with that. Okay. All right, so what I'm going to do here then is I'll fire up our trusty screen share, and we'll get this going on to the land of the PMP League. Here we go, people. All right. Is it up there and visible?
All right, yes.
Okay.
I can see it.
Good. So we're going to start in with our ever-loving Vince Venturella, who waited and showed a lot of constraint to hold off until December 6th to do his first submission of end of the month. He calls it the end of the month, but I don't think he has a concept of when months start and finish, so he just steadily paints, which is brilliant. So let's begin with the Screaming Bell, mounted by Grace here. How do you feel about this guy?
I love the transitions he's got from the warp stone to the flame. Like, it's a very smooth green to white.
Yeah.
The the detailing on the bell itself with the great horned rat. There's a lot of just little details that just pull out the lightning bolts, the face. He's even got a little bit of warpstone kind of glowing through on it as well. Um, the bricks that make up the archway are very clean. However,
Yeah. You want it to be dirtier, don't you?
a
A little
lot of
bit.
his other Skaven stuff, especially his Hell Pit Abomination, I think is what it's called. Is that what it was?
Hmm.
The dragon? He had a
Yeah.
lot of rust showing through and wear, and this is just a very clean model. It looks like compared to those.
Yeah. One thing that I thought about this one was unique when I saw it was in fact. Oh,
Oh,
I
there he
guess.
is.
Yeah, there he was. Why am I getting that? I can't get back to the photo. Oh,
Go left. I don't know, for some reason it starts at the last one. Yeah, there you go.
no, no, no love,
No
no love.
love. Weird.
We'll go back here. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so the point I wanted to make here is painting color on this rat symbol on here. I've never seen anybody done that before. They've just treated it as part of the embossed metal. So kudos to that because it's a good feature on that bell that I think gets missed at times. So I'm gonna give them the thumbs up on that for me.
Oh, definitely.
But I'm gonna be on your side when it comes to mucking up this stone a little bit. It's pockmarked and riddled and crumbly, so I want to see some muck on there. Maybe next time.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll paint 7 more in the next 2 months.
Oh, I'm sure of it.
Okay, well let's skip over to Mr. Sneaky Skink, who did his gang of dwarfs, and this he posted on the 8th of December. So a couple rows of clansmen with their shields and axes. We got a couple of isolated photos as well that we can look at. So this is kind of good that he's done this for us instead of just the unit shot. My first thoughts on this is the ruddy complexion of the dwarf is always something that I've liked more than the bright typical Caucasian look that people paint. So I'm going to give him kudos for that. I like it. I trust my pal Sneaky Skink is going to go back and do some banner. If Sneaky Skink, if you're listening and you're not confident to do the banner, look at Alicia's stuff. She's been doing some Wood Elf banners lately with some wiggly lines on it. And if you're semi-competent at sketching, you can get something that is equally valued.
When my husband was doing was painting dwarves up, what I told him to do for the banner was just do something simple. I mean, if nothing else, just paint a hammer. The shape is fairly simple. It's a T.
Yep.
It's a bigger hat.
Yeah. Or a simple rune, right? Like if you can draw letters of the alphabet, then you can draw letters of the dwarven alphabet. Is how I think.
Definitely. Mm-hmm.
So I'd encourage that. Quite often when I'm thinking of doing freehand, and maybe we're getting off on a little tangent here while we're looking at these, but when we talk about doing freehand pictures, whoops, we snuck in a 40K thing here. Let's pause for a second. Try to break down, for those listening, try to break down your image into its component parts. So for instance, even if you're going to do something like a goblin face, for example, draw yourself an oval or a circle that's going to be that guy's face. A couple little triangles for ears that are going to poke out to the side. If he's got a hat, then isolate that hat shape. And because painting is relatively opaque, you can overcome that, and you can paint over top of those things. So I know that's a pretty quick way of defining something and making it sound easier than going through it, but if you can start to think of it that way, of breaking up its component parts, you'll be well on your way. So I'm going to move on now. We're going to go and look at casually cataclysmic. Because Whoopi's not here, I'm gonna say for him that this is one of his favorite guys because he's a lizard lover, and he's adventurous is the way I describe this guy's paint style. What do you have some things to say about this particular epic monster?
I think his color choices are working rather well. For like the green and the blue, the cooler tones really go together very well. I, however, would pick a slightly different color for the little writing mat it's got on its back, just to kind of make it different. Because right now it just looks like a blob of green stuff on its back.
Isn't that just a blob of green stuff on his back?
It may be or may not be. It could be a writing mount stuck on there, because I mean I see leg marks in there where he could have pulled a model off.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. If it's green stuff, it's at least well done green stuff, but it needs to get painted along with the rest of the model.
Yeah.
If it is.
Well, yeah, I'm sure that's on the way. But in the meantime,
I'm liking his basing work. He's doing it very consistently now. It doesn't. The roots coming up still kind of look a little worm-like to me, but I can at least tell that he's trying to get it to more tree shapiness.
Yeah. What we're talking about, viewers, is this little bit down here.
If you go to the one where it's facing the opposite direction, you can see it a little bit better. But yeah.
Oh yeah, here you go. This one.
There
Here.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It
It looks earthwormy.
Yep.
Okay. There's kind of a way you can do that, and if you just, I've done something like this before. If you, after you've made your little sausage of green stuff like this, and before you lay it down and curl it into place, you just do some half twists down the length of it, so you can get some striation, and it looks like it's rolling over itself a little bit. Okay. Any more to say about that before we move away?
No, we can go ahead and move away. That's fine.
Okay. Okay, here's another snapshot by Vince, who made some friends for his Screaming Bell. Oh, this little dude over here, the gray seer down in the bottom right corner. That was his tail end for last month, I think, that snuck his way in here. But let's look at a couple features of the unit actually while we're here. And aside from doing his Skaven Rats, he's incorporated some unit fillers here using bits from other places. For instance, this little skeleton post, that's from a giant kit. This shard of rock is from the Hell Pit. And then he obviously had another Screaming Bell lying around because he's got another cauldron of poxes left over from there that he stuffed in this side. So, good use of extras.
Definitely. You always want to just hang on to your bits because you never know when you can find a use for them. And there's a lot of really good bits in like the bigger kits.
It's becoming a more common thing. As a guy that's been doing this hobby for quite a long time, I got to admit that I never really spent much time dressing up bases aside from just adding a couple extra textures here and there. But things like that really add value. Okay. Speaking of extra stuff on bases, we're going to move on to another Vince Venturella suggestion, or submission rather. This is something that he was pretty jazzed about doing. For those looking at this for the first time, maybe I should explain what he explained about this. And that he said that he wants to do an entirely Khorne army made up of ladies, and this is going to be his bloodthirster. The foundation of this model is in fact a tree woman model done by, I can't remember the company. I don't know if you know, Alicia, if you recall.
Come
to you.
Ultra Forge Tree Woman.
Ah, okay.
is what he says on the description here.
Yeah. Okay, and then he strapped on some GW wings, and I think these are shoulder extras from one of the Mortarks, I think. So the
Yeah.
model itself, if you look at it closely, what he's painted flesh here would be effectively on the Tree Woman model, they would have been creeping vines, and then what he's done is the exposed muscle, the raw muscle would have been the wood from the original model. So it actually makes a pretty slick transition, and it's good of him to see that. Oh, it now is no longer PG. Our show has Heine in it.
That's not true. There has been butt in other episodes, if you recall, just not female butt.
Well, so we're keeping it going then.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on now, and we're going to look at some ogres by Materum. So I hope he's. It seems to me that he's taken on the challenge of making a ogre man-eater to represent all of the other races in the Warhammer world. Do you think this is true?
That is true, actually.
That is the goal.
He is really liking doing the ogre conversions a whole lot. He's got waiting in the wings a undead ogre conversion coming soon.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and this works obviously pretty directly. You can't mistake this for trying to get all on board with the Dwarven Slayer cult.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his barrel of Bugman 6X behind him as well to protect. It's good.
Yeah, that barrel is actually not GW plastic bits. It's actually woodcraft.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Um, Treehouse Studios makes like little barrels and other wooden like just little bits that are about appropriate sized to be able to do that kind of just fun extra bit.
Yeah, I'm sure those won't be hard to come across for those that want to get on board, make some barrels. Okay. Oh, so his other one here is this is his Bretonnian man-eater, which is a fabulous idea, by the way. How this has come together.
Everybody either likes this model or they pity the horse.
As a
Those
guy
are
who
the only.
watched the Game of Thrones from the outset, it reminds me of that character that they call the Mountain Who Rides. This is giant 7-foot guy that dwarfs the poor horse that has to be saddled by him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, spot on. You got it on the appropriate size base, so it's battle ready.
Mm-hmm. Yep, got the decals from Bretonnian kit and just had some fun. The the vulture on its helmet is actually an extra ogre bit from one of
From
the
that
big monsters.
Yeah, it's from that hunter model.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so he virtually had to encase this whole guy's upper body with green stuff and sculpt some armor on there. But made it
Yeah, that's
happen.
exactly what he did. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, we're going to slip in one more piece of work by Materum here. This is his laser gun cart of the Empire. I did one of these as the Hurricanum with all the solar system going on it, and I really enjoyed doing this model. This is a pretty sweet one to do. So I'm sure that he enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it came out rather well. Um, there are a couple times if he can get in and get some more detail out of the stuff that he just coated in bronze, it'll punch it up just a little bit more. But he's getting better, and I'm really enjoying his improvement. To be honest.
I can see that you didn't encourage him to do that mirror technique that you did on the on the blood rash from
He
previous.
actually did this while I was at my mother's, so
Okay.
this was done without any input from me whatsoever. He didn't ask me a single question.
Okay. And we're going to look at Nick Dunninger's stuff as well. He's going a little bit buck wild with the return to Mordheim amongst him and his play group by the looks of it. So I think what's cool about this is that Mordheim affords you the opportunity to do this kind of vignette and little stuff like that. So it's a good opportunity to have some fun and just play.
Yeah,
These
and
bits,
then
all these treasure chests, I should add, are part of a Mordheim accessory sprue. So when you bought the game, you actually got all these kinds of
oh
things with
wow, really?
it. Yeah. And many other fun things included, like lanterns and signposts, etc., etc. Good use of. Oh, we're going back in time with this one. Got a work in progress as you go sort of setup. That's fun.
Oh, okay. So that's how he got that effect. I got you.
Yeah. There's his collection of bits. There you go. Well,
Yeah.
that was a fun walk through that, Nick. Good job. Okay. Oh, look, Materia's been busy. How long were you gone for?
I was gone a total of 2 weeks this month.
Okay. Well, you've
Yeah.
hammered away at the hobby within your absence, then clearly.
Yeah, he gets to have a lot of work done while I'm corralling youngins.
Good.
Um,
Well, I'm sure this Gorby's chariot will be very upsetting for his fellow Warhammer players to play against because this thing is, quite frankly, shitty to play against. But
he's actually starting to play with basing techniques. We've got some of the crackly technical paint from GW that he's playing with now.
yeah, I just noticed that. So let's key in on that actually. So have you played with this? You seen it in action?
I have not. He played with it while I was gone. He like I told him that I had the bottle before I left, and he's like, "Give it to me." And I'm like, "Okay, fine." I had to go out to my car and unpack it.
Because I haven't either. I haven't worked with it, but I've worked with something similar, which is kind of a two-part business,
Hmm.
where you lay down a base coat of one product and then lay heavily on top some paste, and they both dry at different rates, which is what propagates all the cracking that goes on in it. But I understand this one's just a one layer.
It is. As far as I'm aware, that's it. As it dries, it just cracks open like that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you can also get that effect. They sell crackle paint in spray and in brush on. Usually it comes in white, so it's very easy to put washes over the top to get the colors that you need out
Right.
of it. If you didn't want to go use the GW specific one, because the GW specific one is just the brown coat that you see here.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good. One thing I want to say before leaving Materium stuff here is that I see that he's weathering metal better than he was in previous stuff I've seen by him. Um,
He's getting a lot better with his washes.
yeah.
Before he was just kind of brushing it on and ended up wiping most of it off.
Mm-hmm.
He since stopped wiping most of it off, so it's getting a lot better with the shading.
Yeah. No, I'm in full favor of that. That's good.
Hmm.
Okay. Now we have some stuff by Woopywomp here. He threw up a bunch of photos, and I don't know if these were actually all done this month. The caption he put with these is, "My brother's painted lizardmen armies." So it's eye candy, but I have a suspicion that this wasn't necessarily painted this month.
Yeah, I had that suspicion too because it's all in a nice nice display case with glass shelving.
Yeah. So we'll just quickly scan through that because, well, it's good, but it's not necessarily relevant to what we're doing here. Oh, look at that flying brigade. Oh, little selfie, miniature selfie there.
Yeah, it's hard to get really good pictures of something that's in a lighted display case
Yeah.
with mirrors and everything. It's just makes it hard to read.
Okay. Well, actually, we got some stuff by the Woopywomp here. So let's go check out his undead stuff. This is, if you can notice here, this is picture 120 out of 138. So he's given us the full-on album of whatever he does, but I think this is the stuff that he had trailed off on at the end of November and just finished up. And I'm grabbing these particular focused ones because I wanted again to show off something that I think that Whoopi does quite creatively, and that's his mixture of metals and the way that he weathers his metals. So within this one, we got a more burnished sort of brass in here. We have this ruddy bronze that he puts over most of the model, and then he's got some rusted some rusted metal going on up here. So
it's either rusted metal or it could be a bit of lacquer that it's starting to come off and kind of fall onto different bits. To be completely honest with you, it could go either way.
yeah.
And I like it. I like the fact that it looks like most of the metal is kind of rubbing off, like especially like in like the ribs as well.
Yeah. So something that he seems to tend to keep to is he keeps on doing, I guess, aiming to get realistic metals rather than the glammy metals that I tend to do. I suppose so. So kudos to that. I like this model for that reason because it exhibits a lot of those different styles. So moving on, we are going to go to the MC1 Gamer. So apparently Mitch is doing some commission work where he's building this thing as a war leader.
So is that made out of popsicle sticks or plastic? Do you think?
That looks like wood to me. Yep, definitely wood. For sure. So that might be popsicle sticks, simple as that he's broken up. Maybe balsa wood if you need something softer.
It could be balsa because it looks like he's gotten some of the edges on like the last shot that you had kind of burned as well.
I did notice that, yeah. Who did that? I hope his house didn't light on fire while he was doing that.
It can be rather difficult to mix wood and plastic for painting purposes because the wood and the plastic are going to act a lot differently to different techniques. Wood will soak up paint and ink very, very quickly, so you have to do multiple coats on it, whereas the plastic, you don't want to do multiple coats a lot of the times because you'll cover up important details. So it's something to be aware of if you want to try doing something like this yourself.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when I have done scenery models of mixed mediums in the past, what you have to be careful of is at the priming stage. Because you'll spray and the wood like this will, as you say, soak up all that paint, so you tend to over prime it, but at the same time you're over priming all your other stuff and potentially losing detail into the sharper plastic sculpting. I would add that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I actually don't think that he intends to paint this one, from what I understand. He's sending that off after it gets built.
Ah, okay.
So that's somebody else's problem.
Mm-hmm. Well, whoever gets it, that's your problem. That's what you should be aware of.
So we've been so long away from Vince Venturella's stuff that we're going to come back to it here. And He is at work on some wacky warp lightning conversion. This guy, Vince, I would like to know if you paint any models over 1 inch tall in their natural form out of the box, or if everything must be converted. That's my question for you.
I very much enjoy like his wacky conversions a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Um, this guy looks like he's just trying to surf down the battlefield, just in the position that he's in and how he's balanced on the one little beam.
Yeah, he's straight up out of an action movie, no question. Okay, here's a reverse shot so you can see what's going on. He's plugged in this. This is a counterweight from the catapult that he's plugged into this guy's shoulder. So, quite another creation. Oh, and he also has not neglected his corn stuff, because here he is painting some hounds. And again, these are not G-Dub models, but from some other manufacturer.
These are for his all-female corn demon army as well. Apparently, according to him, they're Rackham miniatures.
Ah, okay. What's kind of cool about them is it looks like they got like little spindly bone wings hanging out their shoulders. Is that what that is?
It could be, or they could be like weird reversed little T-Rex arms. But I guess we probably should go with their wings.
So that they can grab a hold of things that sneak up on them.
Only within a certain range.
Yeah. And he's also added in here a couple of Giselle teams. These are pretty rarely seen in the Warhammer world because they're so bloody expensive nowadays. I think for 3 of these things it's about $60. So, yikes. Hope he got them secondhand. Okay.
Well, if he got them secondhand, he definitely put them to good use.
Yep. Okay, next up, we're going to go look at some work by Victor Case, who, I always appreciate this guy and his presentation. Again, in the absence of Woopywomp, I will compliment the backdrop. I feel that would be important for Whoopi to make note of.
I like that guy on the end. He looks so surprised. He's like, "Oh my God, they're coming for me."
Yeah. We all struggle a little bit with doing eyes, and sometimes it just looks a little googly, and it can't be helped.
It really can't be.
What makes it harder is that when you have an overhang like these helmets do, you can't always bring in your brush at the right angle to do it. So you're sort of a victim to that when you're painting under those helms.
Yeah, and the mouth position doesn't help anything either, as far as him looking surprised.
Now, let's notice what I think is the big achievement to this, and that is that Victor's gone with no metals in recreating his armor here. He's just done it in brown paints. And,
really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, you notice that?
No, I honestly thought they were some kind of dirty gold.
Yeah,
To be quite
that's
honest with you, until yeah, wow. Go Victor.
Yeah, the only reason you're getting a big shine here, I think, is because of the light source. But yeah, I think he's done with washes and brown tones is how this has been achieved. I've tried it a few times myself to mixed success. Oh, let's not go away from that for a second. Let's come back. It's time consuming, for one thing. It takes a lot longer than usual. But yet he's still done metal in the chainmail here.
Mm-hmm.
With usual metallic, but and on the spear tips. But obviously trying the gold that way. And I will say the gold is easier to do in my estimation to do it with brown tones than it is to do silver and gray tones. It's you got to be a student of light to be really good at that. But a good achievement for him to do it overall through the whole armor suit here. Okay, and I think we looked at these last month.
We did.
I don't know if he's done anything extra to it, but good to have a look back. Okay, and then we're going to skip past all those again, those individual snapshots. Oh, in case you folks want to get a closer look, he actually posted a video to his Rico's Republican Guard pikeman there. So go to the Victor Case channel, check him out. He has several other things of even more usefulness than that, but amongst it, if you want to learn more about that non-metallic metal and the techniques he did, go. Oh, I did some stuff. I lied about what I was going to do, but I did stuff. What prompted this is I managed to squeeze some new chariot horses out of some other local high elf players and reconstitute these old chariots because they're old metal chariots that were made by GW about 15 years ago. So they got new rides now, or new mounts. And they also found this guy. He's the rider on the Phoenix that looks like that when he's on foot.
I love your purple fabric.
Hey, I want to check something now that we're looking at it. I want to see how googly my eyes look on this. Oh, yeah. See what I mean? This guy's pupil is like at the bottom of his eye because I couldn't get under that helmet. Good thing he's got a shadowy helmet.
Yeah, helmets, they're just really difficult to deal with.
Yeah. Mess it up for everybody. So, now we're moving on to some more Vince Venturella, who has been busy with the green stuff. So he just gave us one shot of this, but I'm actually curious to see more of this for the sake of the sculpting of the cloaks and capes, because this is all green stuff creation and stuff. These cloaks on these guys.
They're just awesome. I don't know how he does it, but his cloaks always just look so good.
Yeah. See, my struggle with it is you want to do it thin enough so that it looks like fabric and doesn't weight the model too much, but still have enough thickness that it's going to hold its shape. Because when I've tried to do stuff like that before, because he's got support of the model underneath just past the shoulders here, and then it's just all air, right? So to get it to stay up like that, either he's sitting there for 3 hours holding it up while it cures, or he's got some kind of other magic that he's worked out with the horned rat to make that happen.
Yeah, because I've tried using the green stuff before to model stuff, and it takes forever to dry. I don't know if I'm just doing it too thick or what it is. I end up putting super glue over it just so I can prime and paint it and get it done.
I think you'll also be pleased that he muddied up the cloaks on these ones. Right.
I noticed that they go from kind of a very dark brown, blacky brown to that nice bright brown.
Yep.
And they're just so dynamic and eye-catching. I think I'd be okay to losing to these guys. I really do. Because they'd look really good doing it.
Yeah. And they wouldn't feel bad about it either because they're sneaky skating.
Yep.
Okay. I'm going to segue a little bit. This is kind of a cool project. He's doing these, I want to say Mighty Empires, but that's his fantasy version. It's called something else in the 40K world. But this is a tile for doing a map set for campaigns. I've done these before. They're pretty fun. And they can be done up pretty quickly as well. But it's a pretty cool side project to do. Keep you interested.
They definitely look just fun.
Yeah. You know, and of course they're all modular. There was a snapshot back here where it shows that they're also double-sided for most of them. There's a couple of them with bigger relief that you can't flip over, but they are double-sided, so you can get lots of good use out of them. Anyway,
Neat.
fun side project. Okay, let's go move on to the Sneaky Skink. So last time we left him, he was doing dwarfs, but now he is doing Green Chaos Warriors. So one thing that I guess I appreciate here is he's actually achieved a pretty smooth transition of greens. And just looking at the shield of this guy here on the left, it really exhibits that. You know, you don't, even if we zoom in here on this, you don't see brushstroke transition. So he's probably doing that with an airbrush.
Gotta be.
Yep.
Because getting that kind of a smooth transition is difficult.
Mm-hmm.
But I like the little added details he's got on the shields as well, like the wear patterns, a little bit of dirt here and there.
Yep.
On the champion, he's even got some rust issues on his little chaos symbol.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a different picture. I'm sorry.
No, that's quite all right. We'll get to them all. So, and he's weathered the backside of this guy. This must be the champion, right?
I assume so because he's the only one that's different.
Yeah. He's got his muckier cloak than the rest to distinguish him. Yeah, he's done a cool job of making him look battle worn, and I guess that should be appreciated. So, bravo, sir. Thumbs up on that one. Good project. Okay, then... Ooh, what's this? More Skaven by Venturella. Plague Priest this time. So he's got a tiny example of his epoxy warpstone transition that you enjoyed.
I really do love that.
Yeah.
That transition, that warp fire. I know this is going to sound weird, but the first thing I think of when I see this model is, oh, he's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why, but he looks cute.
Cute in a pustule sort of way.
Yeah, I don't zoom in very much.
No. Are these the cute parts?
I don't know. I think it's mainly the cloak and his face that make me go, oh, he's cute.
No, it certainly is. They're a cool model. I like that one too. He's made him look big and obvious on his pillar of rock there, so he can get shot out. Okay. Oh,
I really like Vince's cork work bases that he does. They end up looking just so cool and dynamic. Okay. All right, so NC1 Gamer, right?
Yeah. What do you want to say about this?
It's together.
Yeah, again, I think he was doing this as a commission, so this is another way that you can mount your Skaven Lord, is riding a Rat Ogre. So as opposed to the Water Ogre he was doing before.
And it looks like he's used some jewelry chain to attach the bell to him.
Yep.
Would end up being another interesting painting issue there, because the paint can easily either chip off of or muck up on the chain when you're trying to get it all painted and done.
Yeah. Well, again, that'll be somebody else's problem. That is.
Yep.
Okay, next up, Kai Baker, who is doing many high elves. I feel like he's missing a guy here. Should be two crew,
Yeah.
Kai. Where's the crew? Where's the other crew? We need to know.
Well, is that on the proper base?
Well, as far as war machines go, they don't need to be on a base because when they get into combat, you just fight X number of guys against the war machine and its crew. So you don't
Oh,
match
yeah.
up like traditional units of seeing whose models are touching what. So it really doesn't matter what base they're on, as long as they have some kind of. It's encouraged for them to have some kind of contact edge, though.
Hmm.
I do my bow throwers on around base too. In fact, it's acceptable.
The only thing I've got a Doom Diver and I've got two bolt throwers, and I don't base either one of them. I probably should.
Yeah, yeah. Find something to slap them on. It just makes it tidier.
Hmm.
Okay. So next we're going to look at Marcus Liedstrom. So this is a project for him that's carried over a couple of months, and it looks like he has declared himself finally done with these boys. I really like these things in the early stages. Going with pale skin, and he achieved the mucky pussiness that should offend some people.
Yeah, where's my sick bag?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna focus on the basing right now because the basing looks really nice.
Yeah. Actually, that was going to be my one minor criticism about that, because at least in this photography, and it might look different live, um, it looks too pretty for the rest of the model and the rest of the unit.
Oh, because there's no gore or pus or anything dripping into the basing.
Well, that would be one way, but I was just thinking that if there was some mud or a lot more dark showing through with spotty snow, I think I'd appreciate it more. It would look more haphazard and motley, which is kind of what I get out of this unit as a whole. A bit of a motley crew.
Yeah, I could totally see that. Um, I was kind of looking at the basing just on composition wise by itself. I wasn't really looking at the models because the models make me sick, frankly, because he did such a good job on them. Um,
Okay, well, we won't torture with
yeah,
that any longer. We'll move on. But Marcus, bravo! I like where this started, and I also like where it finished for what you achieved in Nurgleizing those fellas. Okay. And here's Vince spinning it off again into something entirely different, completely different. Oh, I'm getting too close. Is he doing more time as well? Because they look more time-ish. Yeah.
I don't know if those are more time or not, to be completely honest with you.
Oh, here it is.
They're D&D models.
Yeah, that's his thing.
They're
All right.
upcoming swashbuckler marathon game. Sounds very cool.
Yeah, sounds like some plank walking will go on in there.
Haha.
Yeah. So back to Victor. He's done a video about his next project too. I also, while we're looking at his Talos here, I'm going to commend him for having the foresight and fortitude to actually do videos as he's doing projects, because that has got to be, as far as a YouTube dude, what I'm terrible at. I just don't stop myself to snap photos and do work in progress stuff. Um, so it's so very useful, and I'm glad he does it. Glad he does it. Yeah, it's good English. But I just want to take an opportunity to commend him again for his contributions to this YouTube community. What he does. Have you seen this model before?
I have absolutely no idea what this model even is. I see skulls, I see helmets. This looks like something out of an alien abduction, to be
Well,
completely frank with you.
you're not
This looks like
far
something.
off on that, actually. This is a Dark Eldar model, so they're like the space elf equivalent of our Warhammer Dark Elves. So they like to snatch up slaves and torture and pain and do experiments at some point. So this is one of their machines that does that for them, apparently. That is what I know. Anyway, move on.
Hmm.
Ashicus the Muse. So this is a fellow that we've seen him do good banner work in the past. But he's laying some paint on models too.
I love that Bad Moon Shrine.
Yeah, it looks like they're having a ritual at the moment that they've staged, having a little dance as well. It's part of what makes orcs fun. Is they'll fight all day and dance all night.
See, and there is Orc Butt here too.
Yeah, thank goodness.
And no dental care. There was one thing that I did notice on the back of the shaman.
Hmm.
Uh, there are two back nipple rings, for lack of a better term,
Yeah.
that he kind of missed. They're not metal; they're just green like the rest of his skin.
Well, maybe he wants to downplay that kind of S&M part of this show.
Uh, well, he's got the rings on the shoulders of the other one.
Oh.
So just a.
Okay, let's go back and look at that. Do you think that maybe they're a couple? That's how they keep together? They like look up a chain from this one's back to that one's shoulders?
That. So they go back to back,
Yeah, I don't know.
guard each other.
I'm just talking crap really at this point. Uh,
I
okay,
do like
so
his paint
let's move on.
style. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next one. You're having a little bit of mic fuzz over there, by the way.
Not again.
Okay. But while you're getting that sorted out, we're going to look at Mr. John Tailby's creations. So he has kitbashed this from a few different things for his Tomb Kings to do a Casket of Souls. And straight out of the box, I thought these were pretty fantastic models, the way that the Spirit Host were designed. And I saw immediately that they could probably be used in a whole lot of different situations, this being one of them. So I think he's done a cool job of being creative with this. Start from the frontal shot here.
I love this model. I think he's got a lot of good composition work in it. All the little bone bits, skeletons just kind of hanging out, and the fact that it's they're surrounding the Ark of the Covenant makes me just a little happy.
Yeah, see, this is traditionally a really static model in gameplay. Like you just plant it, it doesn't go anywhere. You pop open the box and you scream at people and let the souls out, right? But on the original model, there's no story to that. Like you don't get the envisionment that this Ark of the Covenant is really doing much. But with this addition of the Spirit Hosts, it really tells you that. Like it just throws it at you that's exactly what's happening. He's even gone to the sculpting, and I want to close in on this point right here. Actually, he's actually got it modeled so that you can see the Spirit Host emerging from this chest. He's got that on the other side too.
Yeah, he's got them coming out of eyeball sockets as well. It's just wonderful, and the idea of painting them red instead of the traditional blue or green just gives it just that extra little pump.
Yeah. So good show, Tailby. You have 2 thumbs up from the critics. He's got one other project here as well that he's done, a Dark Elf Sorceress. We had a little bit of back and forth about this one, but this is done by a company called Crocodile Games. and they did a series of models for the war gods of Egyptus and Olympus and a few other places. Um, so this was, I think he called it some Winter Witch, but it totally fits into being a Dark Elf sorceress, obviously.
Yeah, unfortunately, the nose on the sculpt, she looks very mummified. Her nose is very flat. But as far as painting goes, I think I would have brought some of that gold that she's dressed in, or I guess brown,
Mm-hmm.
and highlighted the glyphs inside of the scarf, for lack of a better term.
Okay, yeah, I see what you mean.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because they just don't pop. They kind of meld into the cloak, which is just cool looking.
Mm-hmm. Let's look at the side view shot here. There's a lot of action in that thing.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. But yeah, good model. Okay. Um, Getting close to the end of it here. Last few submissions that came in right after Christmas. D. Shagmetz, I think he just joined up with the PMP this month, I believe, and he, like you, is doing some Wild Riders, but in a very different color scheme. I like this one.
It's always interesting to see different variants in the color scheme. These are fall colors, obviously, but I like the banner color, but I think it's a little weird that their hair is white, at least to me.
Yeah. Um, well, he went into doing light gray cloaks on him. He doesn't have a shot from the back, but the white gray cloaks on there, and maybe he was trying to find something to tie into that, because there really is some strong color differences in here. So let's talk about this composition as a whole, shall we? Let's sound more important than we are. Uh, so he's gone with a very dark horse all across the board. All the horses, all dark. He's come to leather for the well, obviously the saddle and armor here. But I'm actually trying to get a good look and tell. I think that he did go with bronze on the hoods. Yeah, because
Yeah, the helmets.
that's
It
not
looks
enough.
like it has to be like a bronzy gold
So what
from the
makes me
way it
doubt it is
looks.
this one right here. See this one right here?
Hmm.
It almost looks the same brown as that. So he's fooling me a little bit.
What he could have done is
Yeah,
he could
this
have
one
put
is
a
gold.
bronze on there and did a brown wash.
Yeah, could be. Okay. Anyway, so carrying on with the composition, that works fine. I think that this kind of weathered bronze goes well with the darkness of that, and it also goes well with his um, mustard mustard and orange that he's done for the cloth colors. Um, what I think would have been cool here is if he would have gone in a similar style to what those new Dark Riders are painted by GW as sort of a pale green flesh, forest spirit flesh. I think that would have been a winner
Hmm.
on this one, and that would have brought tie in with his groundworks that he's got on the bases. Because there's not quite enough greenery up here with his vines wrapping around the spear poles.
Well, it being a fall theme, I almost think that the mustardy green is a mistake almost. Um, I think if he had gone with more either like an orange or more of a brown toned green, like they're starting to die off because it
Mm-hmm.
is fall and nothing's really growing anymore. And like I said, the white hair for some reason really bugs me. Like I think if he had done like a deeper brown or even like a lighter brown, I think it would have worked a little bit better. It could have flowed a little bit more, because right now it's very stark in contrast with what else he's got.
Agreed. Okay. Well, let's stop banging on this guy because
Yeah,
he's good. Good brush control over most of the part of it, and the highlights are all real good. So that's
yeah.
just
For the most part, technique's solid. Just coloring a little weird.
okay. Good. So going over to Nick Dunninger again. There is More Time Adventures. There's a lot of gold in this town. We should go visit.
I don't know. That thing almost looks like a some kind of weird sick tribble to me. Other than the fact that he painted it gold, it doesn't scream pile of gold to me. I get that's what it's supposed to be.
How do you feel about a man in a good stripy pair of pants, though?
I love a man in striped pants.
Yeah, that's a
He's got a split cod piece on. I almost wish he'd actually split the collar on it.
mm. The cod piece is the most important part of this guy's uniform,
Of
or any
course.
Empire Soldier's uniform, really. Okay,
Um,
yeah, that's a good fun model.
all right.
Okay, then we're gonna go to some Alicia Merritt goods.
Oh no.
Why do you say oh no?
I just say oh no just to say oh no as I gotta
Oh,
review my own stuff.
just to build the drama. Okay, gotcha. So you're these are another project that you're shipping off, are you?
Yep, already been shipped. Hopefully
Okay.
he'll be getting them any day now.
Well, seeing as you might not critique your own stuff, let me take care of that.
All right, go right ahead.
Where am I going here?
Oh no.
Okay, here's my big plus here. What I like what you've done here is you've done this green patina on the armor by doing a green glaze, and then coming back in here and sharpening up the edging. I think that's pretty appropriate. I do like that aspect of it. So kudos on there. And I see you carry that over on the helmets as well of the riders. So I do enjoy that part of it. Most of it otherwise, going back and comparing you to the other ones we just saw a moment ago, good neutral colors tones all throughout, and adding some extra swirlies was a fun thing to do, I hope.
Yeah, coming up with different patterns on each of the horses was kind of interesting.
Uh-huh. And actually, let's bring our conversation back to paint banners. We talked about that in an early segment before, but really, people, I want to encourage folks to get to do this. And if you have any kind of penmanship and can do alphabet letters, then you can do these. You can do these kind of simple symbolisms like she's got here on this banner. When you get into this one, though, it doesn't have to be more complicated than that. It really is just a series of symbols, and if you can segment it down and break it into parts when you're looking at the image, it's still possible. So maybe tell the folks, because we're looking at one that you did yourself. Now we have an example. How do you approach it?
Basically, I start with the head.
Mm-hmm.
I start with the head. I get it. I get the shape of it correct. I make sure that I have plenty of the base coat that I'm going over, so I can cover up any little mistakes or go back over it again. Because you can always just go back and keep working. If you get something a little bit too fat or too thin, that kind of thing. I got the shape of the head correct, and then what it really comes down to is there's a line going this way, so I do a swoosh and two more lines, and I just kind of have to. I originally just drew them completely, and then went back and cut them off so that they would overlap.
Right. And yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, because from a distance here, that's the part that looks tricky to people, I think, is when you see that when you see that you have this separated segment there, where this is sort of knifing through the other two vines. So what you're saying is you effectively draw that as three vines that are all crossed over. So this, what is currently under my cursor, is initially green, and then you just come back in to block that out again and make
That's
it
exactly what I've done. Yep.
good. Yeah. So that's an example I hope that people are willing to try out and recognize that you can get something that looks like that. Now, replicating on two sides of the same banner, that's hard. And there probably was a little bit of minor scale difference, but you know, who's going to tell?
Yeah, because it's, if you can avoid it, don't put your banner on before you paint it.
Oh yeah.
Because that is actually the harder part, is because the way that banner was sitting, it's actually skewed at an angle going like this. So it was actually kind of difficult to get the other one just so I could paint it on the other side.
Oh,
I know that sounds kind of weird.
Because this side of it is kind of over top of the figure.
Yeah, it's kind of jackknifed, kind of weird.
Yeah, I got you. Okay. Well, so this is a very flashy unit, though, with using the blue fur in there. A good departure. Was that any more or less fun for you to play with that?
I like the fur. I actually utilized the How to Paint Wood Elves book on this unit as a test. It was actually a lot more difficult than what I would do for it normally. There was a lot more painting in the intricate highlights and less utilizing washes, actually.
Yeah, right. So you had to direct your paint a lot more than in the past. Okay. Okay. Well, it's a flashy looking unit. I do enjoy it. Oh, I have one complaint for you though.
Oh, okay.
And this is it. On these little wands here, where I have the bulbs at the end of the wands, I wanted to see the mirror effect in there as well. You let me down.
If you look at this paint scale, it's just a little silver orb in there with a little swoosh, and there's a little bit of green in there. I know I didn't do a close-up of one of the wands, but there's a little bit of green tinting in there in each of them. I did, however, change some of the scale, like the pants, the shirt, because the blue is armor, and then there's a little shirt underneath.
Yep.
Right where you hit the belt.
Yeah,
those are different colors from GW normal. The crystal at the top of the staff is supposed to be blue for this. I turned it to green, that nice bright shiny green.
Yep.
The flames again are supposed to be that same blue as what's in the deer. I made them the green as well, and that was just all to tie them into looking like they belonged with the Wild Riders that I did.
Okay. Well, good. I think you'd be pretty happy with that project. Worked well. Okay, so let's go on to Miniature Dice Paint Guy. So he's coming at us with a War Machine character and others. This is kind of a curious thing. So these are traditionally, I think, pretty heavily armored, but he's done them in well, bone colored, I guess. Bone.
It's either bone colored or they're wearing wooden armor.
Yeah, I guess it could be interpreted like that too. But yeah, I think that's kind of cool how he's done it like that. Oh, sorry, let me come back here. Yeah.
I like the green, how it kind of radiates outward. It kind of looks like they've got internal lighting.
Yeah, these are supposed to be, I guess, partially mechanical, so that would make sense to me. Oh, here's a good shot from the side of it. You can see that there. And he has that glow popping out in the collars of these troopers as well. That green glow.
Hmm.
Let's see if we get a tighter shot on him. Now let's go in here. Here, we'll look at that guy. Yeah, so he's pulled off that green glow in there, popping out of the collars of all those guys. So that's a couple cool effects on these models. So that was enjoyable.
Hmm.
But this I think is a very crafty, unique idea to do this effect on his armor plating here. Actually, I want to look at it one more time, a little bit closer.
It's more that kind of brush control that we were just talking about
Yeah,
in order to get your highlights and shading. It's very time consuming and it pays off.
I think so. That's good. You got another submission here of some orc stuff as well. Same guy. Um, he's got a whole unit worth, I thought. I'm
He
gonna try to
does.
find it first.
Um,
Yeah, here we go. Yes, you were gonna say?
I like the coloring on the orcs themselves. I think the whole unit looks very kind of realistic. My one gripe is the standard bearer. It's not that the standard's not painted well, it's
Yep.
just it doesn't stand out. It looks like a giant big carved club.
Um, yeah, I think that I've seen this model done in a couple other ways in the past. And one thing I was going to say that he resisted the temptation of doing any metals on this, which is good because throughout the rest of these guys there's no metal, right? It's just all rope and bone and stone. So he's kept
Exactly.
with that. But what also traditionally these savage orcs have is tattoos, talismanic tattoos that protect them from the badness, and that makes them a little more colorful in some cases. And just like he did with this guy's shoulder spike, he, he threw some color on that. And I think I'm with you. And maybe what we could have seen on here is on these visages that are working up the pole, the totem, could have thrown some color on there to get me a little more jazzed.
Yeah, I actually have this model. Give me a sec.
Okay. So while she's doing her thing, let's scan over a couple other bits. Again, in the effort to do some realism, he's actually modified some of these guys' feet as well. I just noticed that now. Let's look at this guy's monkey feet. So he's not been shy about getting their toes in the dirt.
All right,
I think
here we
that
go.
looks good.
Oh, I love the mud on the feet. He's got a
Yeah.
lot of nice technical details.
Yeah. Okay. So did you have a final thought about this banner bear?
Yeah. Here's my final thought. Um, see, I've just painted mine a whole bunch of different colors.
Yeah.
It's not metal. Put a little crystals in the eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you just made the eyes gemstone, that would have been just like a little bit of color to help out, or rub a little blood or gore, or he's put some nice mud work on the feet. Rub a little mud on there.
Yep. Yeah. Good. Well, that was a good. Still think that was a good submission, and I think
Oh yeah.
that almost brings us entirely up to date. Oh no, we got a couple more to go. Stand by.
Oh no.
Look, it's a double stacked screaming bell. So, not to be outdone by his wacky conversions earlier, he's double stacked this into some kind of precarious contraption. Look at this thing. It's a monstrosity. Yeah.
I actually made a comment on this that the rats have finally taken a page from the Goblin's Handbook and tied two very scary things together to make something scary beyond reason.
Yeah. So he's got a rat ogre pulling this part of it, but he's got a team of plague monks down here. Um, I was trying to see a point where he joined them, but it looks like it's really just at this point here. Let's see if I can get a different side angle look at that in some way. Oh, he created an extra prop there as well to give it some sense of Skaven stability.
Oh yeah.
Oh, but this is totally the kind of thing that's just going to blow up instantly when he rolls out onto the battlefield. And come crumbling down in some great calamity. But that's typical Skaven, so I approve. It's still in flavor.
Whole-handedly.
Yeah. All right. Okay, and Colin Goody, who calls himself Galmo's Itchy Nuisance in the YouTube world, does some pretty good battle reports. If you folks out there viewing this want to go watch, recommend it. But he's done a couple things here. Clearly, we're going to start with some black orcs, totally black as well. He's embraced that idea of the color scheme. But if we get a little tighter, oh, sorry, I want to go back to this. If we get a little tighter on these, you can see that he's done a fair bit of battle damage and weathering on this black. So from a distance, it looks just black, but actually there's a lot more going on there.
Yeah, he's and I like the blood that's smeared on the weapons, and just the little details he's got going on here that it just makes them look very beautiful. I know that's kind of weird saying that about black orcs, but they are.
It is. But I'm sure that they'll take that compliment.
Yep.
And his other project that he's done here is some horrors in the style of purple and blue, which is a bit of all right. These are some pretty sharp models in a way because you can play with great bold color on them, and I'm glad to see that he's embracing that. He's going with bold color on this, and a transition from pretty dark to very light in his skin tone. So there's a lot of layers going on there. I have one small wish though. I wish we could get a sidelong shot of his banner. He only gave us one snapshot of this, so maybe Colin, if you can find time to cast us a couple more pictures, that would be very appreciated.
Definitely. The other thing that I'm really impressed with, because I know Josh had issues with these guys, is he actually got them ranked up very well.
Yeah, with all their spindly arms and wavy bits.
Yeah, they are just so spread out. Like, I have the same issue with the Savage Orcs. I have to number mine, but kudos, you got them all together.
Yeah, indeed. Okay. Well, with that final bit, that brings us to the top of the page, actually, and
Yay!
we're out of stuff. That's all of them. So now I have to figure out how to turn off the screen share. There we go. Back to life. My kitchen still looks the same. Good. So out of all the things that we looked at this month, then, Alicia, you got any favorites you can pull out of that?
Favorites. Not.
Oh, so many, wasn't there?
Let's see. I loved the double screaming bell, definitely.
Yeah.
I just get and John Telby's Casket of Souls. I just get such a kick out of seeing people mod things and coming up with something just totally pretty.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna give both of those guys credit for creativity and coming up with cool stuff. Um, my nod for the project of the month that I liked the best was Victor's Pikeman that he did, just because of the challenge to take on doing some non-metallic metal, and it sounds like you fooled some people in doing that, Victor, to make them think that it was actually proper metallic. So achieved. Well done.
De- yeah, definitely fooled me, that's for sure.
Good. Okay. Well, we'll bring it to a close here pretty quickly. Then I guess I would encourage folks to start right away with some January pledges on the PMP. And maybe in closing here, I should wrap up because people are watching this on my channel and not Whoopi's channel. If you're stumbling across this for some reason on my channel and you're wondering what the heck this PMP is, it's a Google Plus group that was spawned by the Warhammer YouTubers Google Plus channel. So you can search that up and find your way. The whole point of it is a whole community of people that are willing to paint up their stuff and share criticism and technique, and we only looked at one segment of that PMP community by the end of the month submissions, but there's all kinds of other segments to it where people get advice, they share technique, and post up works in progress along the way. So it would be very useful for any hobbyist, not just a Warhammer Fantasy hobbyist like this is focused on, um, but anything to do with this hobby. So please go and check that out. And then for those that are already involved in the PMP, of course you can join whenever you feel like. And many of us have got new toys for Christmas, so January is the perfect time to get busy with those and lay some paint. Okay. So Alicia, any closing thoughts?
Um, Everyone have a happy and safe new year. Can't wait to see what we all come up with in January.
Yes. And play safe out there, people. Okay. Good night.